What is going on, guys? So today we're going to kind of go over what exactly is going on about this 9/11 Vivek Ramaswamy quote, right? So the Atlantic misquoted what Vivek Ramaswamy had said, right? They were saying that basically making him look like a conspiracy theorist, making these false claims, misquoting him in a certain way that, you know, I guess Democratic news organizations, pundits who just like to get news and like to get clicks. So they misquote Vivek Ramaswamy what he said. I have the full audio script here, and this is, if you want to go listen to it, it's on thenewrepublic.com. And so this is the audio of Vivek Ramaswamy and what he actually said. Okay? And we're going to listen to the whole thing, and then we'll go to what the Atlantic said.
Talk about all the things we can handle the truth about X, and you list off a bunch of stuff. One of them that you said last night is we can handle the truth about January 6th. What is the truth about January 6th?
I don't know, but we can handle it. Whatever it is, we can handle it.
But what
government
is it?
Agents, how many government agents were in the field? Right?
You mean like entrapment?
Yeah. Absolutely. Why can the government not be transparent about something that we're using terrorists, or the kind of tactic used to fight terrorists, if we find that there are hundreds of our own in the ranks in the day that they were, I mean, look.
Well, there's a difference between entrapment and a difference between a law enforcement agent identifying it.
I think it is legitimate to say how many federal agents were on the planes that hit the Twin Towers. Like, I think we want it, maybe the answer is zero, probably is zero, for all I know, right? I have no reason to think it was anything other than zero. But if we're doing a comprehensive assessment of what happened on 9/11, we have a 9/11 commission, absolutely that should be an answer the public knows the answer to. Well, if we're doing a January 6th commission, absolutely those should be questions that we should get to the bottom of. Right? There can't be hush-hush, separate. It shouldn't be outside the commission leaked to some media personality, the hours of footage. No, this is transparent. These are the doors that were open. Here are the people that opened the doors to whom. Here are the people who are armed. Here are the people who are unarmed. What percentage of the people who were armed were federal law enforcement officers? I think it was probably high, actually. Right? There's very little evidence of people being arrested for being armed that day. Most of the people who were armed, I assume the federal officers who were out there were armed. And so, but I don't know the answers. We deserve to know the answers, right? We the people, we did a Jan 6 commission, there are certain questions you can't ask. We did a 9/11 commission, and there are federal agents on the plane, we deserve to know. And if we're doing a Jan 6 commission, and there are federal officers in the field, we deserve to know. Just tell us the truth. Tell us what happened. And it's not just that, right? I think it's also the reflection on the truth about the underlying motivations of people. What were the sources of the frustration? Right? Is it really just Donald Trump riled them up in an 8-week period? Or are these people who had been lied to and suppressed for a longer period of time? I think it's clearly the latter. Right? And I think that the failure to recognize the whole truth. We want the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. That's really what I say we deserve. And I don't think we've gotten it on any of those questions. On the Jeffrey Epstein client list, on unidentified flying objects, on January 6th, on vaccine, on COVID-19 vaccine, on the origin of the pandemic, which we now know, by the way, systematic efforts by people who had no idea what the origin was to shoot down the origin. And I remember this at the time. There were people in sort of the, like in the sort of the greater Harvard MIT space, the Broad Institute and otherwise, who were sort of talking about, well, there's a decent chance it could have, but we should be careful about talking about this or it could undermine erosion of trust in science. There's no such thing as a noble lie. That's my view. The noble lie is non-existent. No lie is noble.
I think it's interesting to compare and contrast 9/11 and January 6th.
Oh yeah, I don't think they belong in the same conversation. I'm only bringing it up because I am not making the comparison. I think it's a ridiculous comparison.
I'm not comparing, but
I'm saying that I brought it up only because it was invoked as a basis for the Gen 6 Commission.
Of course. What I'm saying, though, is that I think Democrats and Republicans would agree 9/11 is a day that's like Pearl Harbor Day, where there are good guys and bad guys, and America was attacked.
I mean,
Yeah, like,
I
that's
would
very
take,
clear.
I would take the truth about 9/11. I mean, I am not questioning what we. This is not something I'm staking anything on, but I want the truth about 9/11.
Okay, so you heard it yourself. Okay, that is the full context of what Vivek Ramaswamy had told this reporter, quote unquote. I just want to put that out there. So we're going to read some of the newrepublic.com, what it has to say. So Vivek Ramaswamy is desperately trying to walk back his comments that the U.S. government was involved in 9/11 attack, but the Atlantic has the receipts, apparently, right? So Ramaswamy is under fire over a profile published Monday in the Atlantic, in which spouts conspiracy theories about January 6th and 9/11, including wondering how many federal agents were on the plane that hit the Twin Towers. He later doubled down on the comments during an interview with the CNN. This right here is basically what the Atlantic was saying. They were taking little bits and pieces out of what he was talking to about that reporter. And he was basically trying to make it seem like Vivek Ramaswamy is this huge conspiracy theorist and that we shouldn't take Vivek seriously, and that he was trying to compare 9/11 to January 6th. But if you listen to the whole thing, he says, I'm not comparing the both. They shouldn't be compared to. It was only brought up because we were talking about federal agents. Because when you ask about 9/11 and how many federal agents were on the plane or how many federal agents were, around this circumstance that happened, they don't say anything. They can't give you a straight answer. When you talk to them about January 6th, we all saw the hearings in January 6th. We all heard them. When they asked how many federal agents were in the crowd in January 6th, and they said they cannot tell you. They cannot tell you. Like, you could just say there was none. There was one, there was two. We just had to control the crowd to make sure that everything was okay. No. They just came out and said, we can't tell you. Why? Why can't you tell us? Was there more than half the crowd federal agents? Was there 50, 60? Was there 10, 20, 30, 40? Like, how many agents were there? That's a legitimate question. You're trying to say that January 6th was being compared to an insurrection, that it is the craziest thing you've seen in decades, and we should never let it happen again. But then we go to the hearings, and we ask how many federal agents were part of this crowd. You can't tell us. And then we get video recordings of agents that got leaked that tells us that there were agents in the crowd. They even had Ray Epps saying, go in, go do this, go do that. Make sure you break in there, do all the things you have to. We need to go forward. And then when y'all start rounding up all the January 6 people to face punishment, Ray Epps wasn't a part of that. Even though there was video of him saying it. They still didn't go after him. Why? Because he was a seed that was planted in there to convince the crowd to go in, even though some of that crowd was saying, don't go, stop hitting the windows. We've seen the video of them saying, don't do that. Don't hit the windows. Don't break things. But Ray Epps is free. Ray Epps is free. Why? Because he was a seed. He was a plant. He wanted to seem like, like he wasn't a federal agent. He wasn't part of anything. Why aren't you arrested? We clearly have you on video saying to go do all these terrible things. Why aren't you arrested? And when Vivek goes and asks about 9/11, saying, hey, we just want to know how many federal agents were on there. That's it. That's all we want to know. I don't think that's a big ask. We just want the truth. We want the truth. Like COVID-19, we want the truth. We want the truth about these vaccines. We see a bunch of healthy people dying. It is not normal. And we just want the truth. That's it. We just want the truth. And they can't tell us the truth. This guy who recorded Vivek Ramaswamy, he's not even a reporter. He's not a reporter. He's a shill in this media that shouldn't even have the name of reporter. Shouldn't even be a part of actual reporters that just want the truth. Instead, he goes and makes up these little tidbits of taking Vivek Ramaswamy out of context. I don't know about you guys, but I would like to know the truth. I don't think that's a hard question to ask. I don't think there is I really don't think like what the problem is about asking that. And that's all Vivek was saying. So that's about it, guys. I just wanted to let y'all know that what was happening and how Vivek Ramaswamy was just taken out of context. So, and this was done by, like I said, a shill. He's not a reporter. Anybody who can't just say the truth and is just going for clicks, they're not a reporter. They're just someone who's a shill trying to keep their job. That's it. That's all it is. Anyways, guys, thank you for being here. Don't forget to subscribe, like to the channel. And yeah, I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good day.